Today I'm going to go through and walk you through the process of installing and unboxing my new ASUS RT-AC86U router that I purchased, and I would be installing the ASUS WRT Merlin firmware onto that new router. So first of all, I'm going to search for the Merlin ASUS download, and the first option here is the Merlin site, which I already opened. I'm just going to give you a little background on the ASUS Merlin router firmware. It basically is addition, or it does some primary enhancements on the original ASUS WRT firmware. So it just performs more stability, and it also gives you a few enhancements, but it retains all the stock firmware information as well as tweaks. So going back to my download, I am still searching for the ASUS download, and I would select the soundforce.net link. That will be the third link. This would bring up this page. So I would be going to downloads, and it would bring me to the different models that is supported by Merlin. I'm going to be looking for my option that would be the RT-AC86U option. Let key right here, and I would go to release. I would make the link available where you can download the newest release, and I would download, this is the latest version, the RT-AC86U 386.7_2. I have already downloaded this to save some time, and it's located right here, and I already unzipped the contents, and these are the contents. This is the actual firmware that we're going to be using. So I've just powered up my new router, and I would try to go onto the web interface. I have currently set up a static IP address on my network card. The IP address I gave my workstation is 192.168.50.100 with a /24 subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. Once you've done that, you would be able to check and see if you have access to the router. So I'm going to go to a command prompt, and I'm going to ping the default IP address that come with the router out of the box. That would be 192.168.50.1. And sure enough, I got some response that it is up and I'm able to access it. So I'm going to open a new web page. Okay, this is the welcome screen when you unbox your new router. So we would just go through the minimum configuration. So we'll select the advanced settings. We would select the option, choose the operation mode. We're going to be using it as a wireless router mode, which is the default. We're going to be using automatic IP address for the WAN internet connection. And I am just going to create a temporary SSID for my wireless. And I'm going to select my username, router login name, and password. I'm just going to put something temporary here just to bypass the wizard. Okay, it did not match. Okay, so now we're in the actual router. As you can see, this is the stock firmware that comes with the router, and the version that it currently has installed is 3.0.0.4.386_48260. we're going to be installing our Merlin firmware. So I would scroll all the way down to administration, select firmware upgrade, and we're going to be doing a manual firmware update. We're not going to be checking online because I don't have the router currently plugged up to any internet access on the WAN connection. So I'm going to select upload. I am going to search for where I have the firmware downloaded. I'm going to select the actual firmware, 79 megs. Select open, and this would actually kick off the firmware update process. What it's going to be doing is that it's going to be validating that the file that is presented to it or uploaded or selected is current and that it doesn't have any errors, and it would validate its checksum ID. So right now the process it is going through of actually doing the firmware update. It takes just approximately 3 or 4 minutes because I am directly connected to the router via local Ethernet RJ45 1 gig connection. So I'm just going to give it a minute here. While that is being updated, I am just going to go back and read some of the features that is within the Merlin firmware. As you can see, what it is an alternate custom version of the firmware. Um, the primary goal of this firmware is just to not to bring any radical changes, but to fix some of the known issues and limitations while maintaining some of the level of performance as the original firmware, meaning that it keeps all the supporting features, which is, for example, the NAT acceleration and NTFS performances, etc. Also, such as the AI cloud, the Trend Micro Power AI protection. It also gives you some of the models that the firmware actually supports. So I would provide this link so that you can have a look and make sure that you purchase the correct router or the router that you have that can be used with the ASUS Merlin firmware. So just checking back, we're at 93%. I am just going to put a continuous ping for the address that we're to make sure that when it goes down, we can validate that it comes all the way back up, and it seems as if it come back up already. So I'll try to log in with my password that I create, my original password, just to confirm that the firmware actually was updated. And as we can see, to the top here, we have the logo of the RT-AC86U firmware, and right here we can see this is powered by ASUS Merlin, which confirms that it actually did in fact running the new ASUS Merlin firmware. You can also check here that it's the 386.7_2 firmware. Okay, and we can just validate also within tools that it's actually running that firmware. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.